So we have a very, very special episode today.
Yeah, we're podcasting live from Boonville, as always.
Yes, and I believe a little bit of a touchy subject. I believe our podcast today covers, I'm sure you've seen it in the news, the fall of Cadia.
Yes. Yeah. I was, I remember where I was that day. I was watching YouTube.
And actually, one of the funniest things after that got because that's pretty recently added to lore, isn't it?
Yeah, that was very recent.
I still remember the, of course, a bunch of tasteless, uninspired memes pop up after such a tragedy.
Yes.
But the one that did make me laugh was the little kid in the classroom. They're like, "Where's Russia?" And he points, and "Where's the U.S.?" And he points. This is "Where's Cadia?" And he points to his heart. And he's got the Terminator armor helmet on.
Like, my first interaction with Warhammer 40K was when I was very young, and I saw a Chaos Space Marine Raptor, which I thought was hilarious, but I didn't think any more of it until much later, like in college, when I realized that this is insanely popular with a very, with white males, obviously, especially members of the military, very popular around here for obvious reasons.
So something we haven't addressed as much as we talk about 40K is Warhammer 40K in our area is extremely popular amongst far-right conservatives.
Yeah.
Because the setting is obviously in a future where one must be extremely xenophobic and nationalistic.
A hard man making hard decisions.
And the thing is these people love this setting because the irony is completely lost on them.
Yeah.
It is, of course, a commentary on such a society.
It's a grim, dark future.
It's not. It's not supposed to be good.
And one of the good parts about the Fall of Cadia is that it's that's. Like the authors who have been shackled to writing trash for this game setting have I love watching authors grow and even the people who made the game, Games Workshop, all the they grow. At first this was just an elaborate parody of Margaret Thatcher because the
Games Workshop is based in the UK
because the Orc war boss was Mag Uk Raka.
Guys, we're not making this up. This is the truth.
All the orcs are soccer hooligans who are very anti-Fa or Fa, depending on... I'm sorry, Antifa is terrorist, so I am anti-Fa. No, I belong to a cooking collective known as Anti-Fa.
Antipasta.
Yeah, we bake goods with elderly women who don't have children of their own, but have plenty of nieces and nephews. So, and we punch Nazis. It works now. It works. It's good. It just works.
So the Black Library though does have they've employed several amazing authors.
Abnett especially, but Chris Raitt and the ABD. I can't remember.
I know.
He has a hyphenated name,
but these are because there are several amazing, especially the Horus Heresy.
Yeah,
those are some amazing science fantasy books. They
are.
Are.
They're hit and miss, but there's 70 of them, so of course
there are 70 within just the Horus Heresy.
And of course, to think it all started with Ian Watson with Space Marine, where Space Marines are overtly homoerotic, and there is the line where a Space Marine named Biff launches a boarding action into a Tyranid hive ship and says, quote unquote, "We're going in through the anus, boys." Biff fist pumped. And now we're actually having an elaborate mythology that is relatively consistent, or at least inconsistent in an understandable way.
There's been a few. The only retcon I can think of off the top of my head that I just find distasteful is the one we've talked about it before. The idea that they changed that guardsman defending the Emperor to an Astartes.
I think Saturnine has introduced something like that. They introduced where the legend came from, and now it's not Astartes. It's a perpetual or something like that with some guy who sounds like Aliana's bias. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and the the fascinating thing about Warhammer 40K is because most of the fans I speak to are fans around here who are just infatuated with the alt-right.
The aesthetic of power.
The aesthetic of power, yes. And so everyone in this area, everyone plays Space Marines.
Yeah.
And they all play Space Wolves, particularly. Now, I love the Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
I do, because there's a lot going on there. Yeah, so these people all play those, and they really hate people playing other armies. Eldar gets made fun of a lot. So I think that's,
if you're gonna role play an Eldar, you're gonna be a twat. So
I think, but yeah, it's such a fascinating setting. There's such an incredible story to it, and we've gotten so many good video games from it. A lot of good video games,
and like when I first saw that, it was that toy. That's not a toy; it's a model, Dad. It was in 2006. Then I first started reading up on it in 2010 when I was like leaving college, and I wanted to see what this was all about.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, for the next 10 years, for most of my life, Games Workshop has had the setting relatively pegged at the year 4199.
Mm-hmm.
It would not advance beyond that. It was practically a joke. Abaddon keeps launching these crusades to try to get past Cadia, but the people who role play the war game keep winning on the Imperial side, or the orcs who are supposed to help Abaddon wind up fucking him over.
Which I love.
So they had to incorporate that into the setting, and it turns out Abaddon wasn't failing; he was just succeeding somewhere else. He was destroying those weird pylons that are on Cadia, which were also on other planets. And we knew this because there's a lot of books that, this is the most heavily telegraphed plot point. If you read like a civilized person, yes. The Eisenhorn trilogy features this.
Does it really?
Yeah.
It's in that?
In the second book, there is a cult that is being manipulated by a renegade radical inquisitor to figure out what those pylons are so he can build new ones. And his plan is to use that Xeno technology and a little bit of Psyker help to close the Eye of Terror, which would be huge.
That would be gigantic.
But you're dabbling in powers beyond your control.
And that's my favorite thing about Warhammer 40K is like all these people that are so far right and everything, like they see the Imperium as this perfect society that absolutely is completely 100% homogenous, that doesn't do anything like that. But the whole thing about the Horus Heresy is the joke is that this society is now based on what it once stood against.
Yeah.
100%. Like
instead of being rational and reasonable, it's just dogmatic and militaristic and bad and grim and dark.
One of my favorite things is Logar's Legion, the Word Bearers.
Yeah,
when they do their first crusade against the new Imperium of the God Emperor, and like the guy is like one of the guys starts praying to the Emperor before they execute him. They're like, wait, what? What? And they're like, oh my God! They're like, Lorgar, you're not gonna believe this. And he comes over and he's like, what is he doing? And they're like, he's praying to the Emperor. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you joking? I got what is it they call it? Incensed.
Oh,
censored.
He's like,
I got censored for that.
Well, like, it is Space Catholics. You probably got incensed too.
Right? Like,
you smell nice.
Russ beat the shit out of me for doing this. Like, I think that's one of my favorite lore points.
But anyway, yeah. So you got this whole thing where, okay, something's going to happen at Cadia because nothing can happen in this setting until Cadia the Cadia situation is resolved.
Yes.
And then like Gothic Armada 2 comes out. Like, okay, I like strategy games. I love War in the Pacific, grognard, naval games like that.
Yeah.
So and then it cuts to that opening cinematic where a fleet admiral is warping into the to the opening stages of the 13th Black Crusade. Cadia is in a really bad way. And she is a proper Imperial officer. It doesn't matter that this is suicide. She is going to attack and join the Sons of Dorn with their Phalanx battle fortress to hold back the tide. And she's losing ships left and right. And one of her subordinates says, this battle is lost. We must disengage. And a commissar shoots him. It's a perfect introduction to the setting. You managed to deliver some much-needed reinforcements through drop pods. I'm sure the people in those drop pods had a lovely time. And then you find out that Abaddon the Despoiler himself, on Horus's flagship, a Gloriana-class battleship that you can't even really make anymore, is heading this way. And the Sons of Dorn says this is our golden opportunity to take down Abaddon. Everyone attack Abaddon. She complies with light cruisers. Just because, okay. And it's made like this heroic charge. She charges Abaddon. She gets all her torpedoes off. They all get intercepted. And then Abaddon retaliates, and all her ships, except for her flagship, are toast. So now Admiral Catalia, in her flaming husk, finds out there's more chaos reinforcements coming in. She decides, whatever, I'm just going to ram them. She rams one, but then the rest ignore her, which is bizarre because chaos usually just latch on to a victim and tear them apart. But these guys are just going straight towards a Blackstone fortress, and they're propelling it into the planet. She realizes what's going on too late and sends out an evacuation message to everyone on Cadia to get off. That Blackstone Fortress collides with the planet. The planet explodes. Welcome to Gothic Armada II.
And now, video games in Warhammer 40K are almost never canon.
Yeah.
Almost never. But this scene is.
This is.
There's several novels about it from different perspectives. And so Cadia, it's difficult to describe what Cadia means to the Imperium. It's more important than Reach was for the UNSC and Halo. It's and Alderaan is just a stupid parallel. Only in that it was destroyed, or they similar.
Imagine if, like in World War II, a bridge magically appeared over the English Channel.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So basically now so now Chaos has an open the screen doors open and Mama's yelling.
Yeah.
Because the mosquitoes are getting in. So Abaddon, but by the way, Abaddon was Horus's right-hand man.
Yes.
And he is Chaos undivided. All four of the ruinous powers want him, but he knows that he could play. He believes he is using Chaos.
Yes, he is not.
He can't be swayed by any one of the ruinous powers because he's using them to get back at the false emperor.
That's why he hasn't become a demon prince.
And the way the setting describes the four ruinous powers of trying to lure Abaddon, it's fantastic. It's like a guy knocks on his office door. Hey, buddy. I heard you were a Spurs fan, so I've got 2 season tickets. The wife and I aren't using them. You just And Abaddon's like, I'm really not ready to make a commitment yet. No. Dude, just remember where you got them.
Dude, this is the warp. I can take you to any game in history.
And so my favorite thing about the warp is it's literally the power of imagination.
Yeah.
It is it
just turns out everyone's imaginations are horrifying. Like, all those nice things you see on the internet? Well, guess what? All the hentai's there too. Mostly the hentai, actually.
So, darn those Dark Eldar.
Yep. Dark Eldar. So anyway, in the you play as a guy called Admiral Spire in the Imperial campaign, and he is the protagonist of the first game, which took place during the 12th Black Crusade, 800 years prior. Mm-hmm. Turns out after...
Is he Astartes? How does he live this long?
He is a human, just a normal-ass human, and that's why I like the game. But he took his cruiser into the warp and got lost.
Oh, that's how he's lived this long. Okay.
So it feels like a few weeks or years to him. He's noticeably aged from the last game, but it's 800 years. He finally gets back into real space with his crew, and they get the hymnal. the monk chant on the internet saying, like, Cadia has fallen. All hope is lost.
I would be lying if I said that growing up Catholic is that background and sort of appreciation for that aesthetic is not something that has inspired me to love 40. I would be lying if I said that had nothing to do with it. But like the bridge of 40K ships, I love it because there's literally little cherubs incensing around and stuff. Like it's absurd. I love it.
So, the little thing about Admiral Spire, he is a very interesting protagonist in that he is not exciting in any way.
He's perfect for Don.
He is not only not super powered, he is just the most basic, competent in a very procedural way. He sees a problem and he's just pragmatic about it. He's not inspiring. He just says random platitudes from the Imperium. So he's an old man who does not know what's going on. He doesn't really comprehend what the young people today are feeling. This dramatic shift in the foundations beneath our feet. And everyone's looking for a hero right now to rally behind. Someone who's not just going to hold the line against chaos. They're actually going to do something to stop the problems.
That's another important thing about the 40K setting is the Imperium is in defensive mode.
Yeah.
They are not on the attack.
And that's where you get all the radical inquisitors who want to actually shake things up. You know, guys, what if we just reboot the Emperor? Kill him, see if he comes back. We need him.
Which is one of if the Emperor actually dies, that's one of the possibilities that another child is just born the way he was.
Or he just wakes back up.
or he literally just waits. We don't know.
Or he becomes the chaos god of order.
It is,
and destroys the universe.
It is important to note, though, also in this losing battle, the average citizen of the Imperium does not know this, but the Emperor is dying.
Yes.
Horus's attack on him has been killing him for 10,000 years.
Yep.
So that's important to note, too.
So anyway, all these young people are crying out for someone to lead them, someone inspiring, and out pops Joe Biden. Trapped in the warp for 4 years, not really understanding what's going on. But hey, there's fascism over there. And you know what a liberal democracy does? It builds an uninspiring coalition to make them go away for a while.
We have to do it because you made the parallel. You opened the gate. We have to do it. Who is Bernie Sanders in the Imperium?
I don't know. Rabute Gilliman? Like, okay, I mean, he had a heart attack last year, but then the Yunari came in with that power armor to save him because they knew he would be important at some point.
The best part of that. I'm not drawing any parallels here. I'm just saying the best part of you choosing Gulliman is that Gulliman's thing in 40K is that he regrets writing the Codex Astartes. Like, this big thing is a regret of his most important move for the Imperium.
I shouldn't have been so pro-NRA for so long. It was my one mistake, and it turned out to be the big one.
Because, of course, each chapter can only have 1,000 members, and that's insane when chaos is constantly knocking at the door.
So anyway, Joe Biden shows up in a cruiser, and he's just like, okay, so Cadia blew up. That's a little weird. Okay.
Not happy about it.
Turns out the Eye of Terror is no longer just the Eye of Terror. It's like the long spine of terror across the entire galaxy. Okay, well, you know what? Look, there are things we can focus on, and there's things we can accomplish. So, let's just go for a $15 minimum wage and see if there's any survivors. So he pulls out. He gets his monks to shout into the void, saying, "Is there anyone out there?"
I like that it's going to be less Catholic and more like 50s crooner.
Biden is Catholic. He attends mass regularly, like a poser. As opposed to a real Catholic who does not go to Catholic church, except for Christmas and only to be seen.
And midnight mass because you're up late because you're off work.
Oh, yep. Anyway, so you go around building together a ragtag fleet of survivors from the fall of Cadia, and High Admiral Drang congratulates you, sends you on some missions, and then it turns out Admiral Drang has been sending you into traps because he is a chaos agent.
Really?
Yeah, and he's got that nice High Admiral title. And you know what? You've been advancing the ranks. Someone needs to get rid of that guy. Well, it turns out there's this guy called Inquisitor Darkhammer.
I love how derisively you like when you're on the parts of 40K that Don likes, like the parts about the boring people, like Don is so excited about it, and then you get to what everyone else likes about 40K, and he's like,
some power armored guy who's all dramatic and stuff. He kills High Admiral Drang and says, "I have high hopes for you, High Admiral Spire." So you embark on a campaign of reconquering the Cadian sector and the surrounding sectors, try to stabilize a war front, liberate the hive cities that are still capable of manufacturing for you, and you get to build ships. And I love, like, there's all kinds of ships you can build, different play styles. You got like a bunch of different things to keep track of. If you lose because you're not doing it right, it's fun.
It's a full on 4X, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and of course, much like with the books, space combat is a little weird. It can take place from different parts of the solar system. Mm-hmm. Generally, though, it's going to be broadsides from 5 meters apart with boarding parties. Right. Like there's literally going to be space marines like with grappling hooks flying through space.
I know you don't like them, but I'm a kid. I love the Astartes.
I like some of them. It's just like I really like the Hell's Reach, because it explores the humanity of the Astartes, or rather their lack of it, or there's a scene where one of the Astartes who really hates the guardsmen, he's really resentful that 5 Astartes have been sent to die alongside a bunch of stupid humans, and then he sees a dying woman and he tries to comfort her, but he doesn't really know how, and it's a really nice scene. I like that.
That actually, the dynamic between Astartes and humans, and the fact that that's why I like the Horus Heresy so much, is the Astartes are dealing with the fact that they are making the greatest sacrifice for a world that will no longer need them once it's done. And that, of course, is the whole thing behind Horus and everything. Also, I do like the wolves, but I don't like, because everyone else likes them because they wear wolf skins and they bark. But I do like them because there's that thing of that they do have Bjorn, the Fellhand, and he remembers what the Imperium was. And every like 200 years or so, a bunch of space wolves will get together and be like, "Why don't we pray? Why don't we pray to the God Emperor?" And they're like, "Fine, thaw him out, bring him out here." And he comes out and he's like, "What are you doing? Granddad hated this. Come on."
He's that 95-year-old communist union organizer who lives down the road.
For real. That's the Space Marine, the Space Wolves. What I do love about them are that, like, because everyone always says they're like the most rabid in what, like, because first off, they were the executioners. Their legion exists to destroy another legion if it gets out of line. That's the whole reason the wolves exist. But I do love that they're the ones that remember, and also they hide gene seeds from the Lords of Terra. I do like that, because they're like, Codex Astartes says only 1,000. Like, no, we've totally only got 1,000. And then like you see this bus like with all the windows tinted, and they're like, there are 5 in there.
The rest are sunflowers.
Also, I don't know what game it was, but the story with the Inquisitor, who's like, "Hey, all these guardsmen fought against Chaos. We need you to kill them." And
I can't remember.
The Space Wolves are like, "No, dude, we'll totally kill them. Don't worry." Oh, look, that cruiser went away with all those. Oh, damn it! I meant to kill them. We'll get the next one. Oh, damn it! They got away. Like, I like that the wolves. Oh, I like that they openly defy the Inquisitors. I guess I like that.
I like the books where somebody in the Administratum accidentally makes a mistake, but of course the Administratum doesn't make a mistake, so an entire regiment of guardsmen are classified as dead on a livable world. So they just go to a village and start marrying the locals, and they just live their lives. It's like the only happy ending in any Warhammer 40K. I'm sorry, sir, you're dead. No, I'm not. Well, the Administratum says you are, and if you say the Administratum is wrong, you're a heretic. Oh, well, I guess, yep. I'm a ghost. Go away. Stop looking at me. Anyway, you do have Space Marine fleets. They do, and a few, you get up to some Space Marine business, like the Dark Angels. There is a guy called Asmodai.
Of course there is.
Course. I actually kind of like that name just because it's so funny. He says, we have some mysterious business to attend to. And, of course, Admiral Biden's like, mysterious? There's nothing mysterious about it. Chaos is there. I am Imperial. And Imperial truce says they're gonna die, and well, we can do that. We can accomplish this, guys. We could if we just work together with the Mechanicus, the Astartes, and the humans, we can all do something good here. Nothing too fancy, just something acceptable. Anyway, Asmodeus leads you to attack a Chaos Warband, and after you accomplish this, another Dark Angel comes in. I can't remember his name, but he says, "You have been consorting with the Fallen." The Fallen, the Dark Angels who got lost in the warp or turned to chaos, and the Dark Angels are really pissy about that because they don't want anyone to think
because that's a mark against their legion. Yeah.
And they were also, and Lionel Johnson was also delayed fighting the Night Lords during the Horus Heresy, so he never made it to Earth on time.
He's one of the ones that we don't really know if he's dead or not.
He is pretty much alive.
Oh no, didn't
he is
Lion?
He's in stasis.
The Lion guy, because that guy that was just a human stabbed him.
Yeah,
and he
Luther, I think.
Luther, because he's just
he's the guy who fell. I think he's still technically alive.
He's imprisoned.
Yeah,
he's imprisoned.
Anyway, but this isn't known to people outside the Legion,
right?
So when the Dark Angel says that guy who's been helping you fight chaos is a bad person, you need to kill him, Biden is faced with a dilemma because he doesn't know who Antifa is. He just knows that fascism is bad. He doesn't necessarily know that Antifa is good.
But is Antifa the real fascist? That seems to be the question on everyone's minds lately.
So he's faced with a real dilemma. I don't have enough information to go on with. This guy just helped me fight fascists. I'm going to help him. And if you help Asmodai, he will show up in the final battle with Abaddon later. Spoilers, which is cool. I like that. I like the final boss where all the friends you made along the way show up to help you fight him.
Love that in video games.
And if you ally with normal Dark Angel, they just give you a fleet right then and there, and you can only take 3 fleets in with you. And frankly, his fleet's not that good. So Asmodai is probably the better option for me, but also having that extra fleet will help you police the galaxy more because one of the things I like about this game is that you're always under attack. You're never.
Because the Imperium is always under attack.
There's always an invasion. It's always just a little farther away than you can get to in time.
The Xenos from without, the mutant from within.
Yeah. And it's like XCOM 2 or an XCOM 1. You're in a war of attrition, and you're on the wrong side of it. You need to race through to accomplish as much as possible to try to stay ahead. It's a marathon. There's no part where it's just going to be easy except maybe towards the end if you're just really good at it.
Right. Really good at it.
But anyway, the Tyranids show up and you have to fight the Hive Fleet because, everyone's freaking out. Dude, there's Tyranids here. We're doomed. And Admiral Spire is just guys, it's in the manual. It is in the manual. It is in the party platform that if you take out the Hive Fleet, if you take out the Hive ship, the rest of them will scatter and they won't be a problem anymore. Then the Necrons show up and Trazyn the Infinite rats out his buddies. He does so in a very insulting way. He's just as delightful as he is in the books. He just says, "Hey, these guys are assholes and they're building a Death Star. I want you to kill them." Why would you betray your kind? They are Neferiti. I am Trazyn the Infinite, sir. And they annoyed me. You would bear that in mind. So you go to fight literally the Death Star. One of those world engines that the Necrons can get up to. And this is where you get some good Space Marine action because the Blood Angels and the Raven Guard show up. That is just 40K fan bait. That is the Blood Angels help you hold the line against an unending armada of Necron ships, and the Raven Guard says, "We have to board this thing to destroy it from inside." Of course, this is what we're going to do. And so you keep secure, you have to go around the map to redeploy drop ships for reinforcements to invade the planet. And the Raven Guard can't get through. The fire is just too intense for dropships. So they crash their battle barge onto it. And the rest of the mission is just frantically trying to deploy reinforcements to them to keep their offensive going. And then they suicide themselves to take it down. And it's actually really cool because it's really stressful the whole time. You're just holding out and trying to get them to the mission objective. Then there's the Eldar, where you could help the Ynnari, or you can help the Ynnari get some kind of artifact, and they will form an alliance with you, which will stop the Eldar raids.
Do not tell the Inquisitors if you take this route.
Inquisitor Darkhammer is not happy.
That's another thing I love about 40K is, hey, we're not supposed to, ever consort with Xenos. But if you do, don't tell the Inquisitor. It's like, of course, I love that it's real in that sense. Like, in real life, we have these lofty political ideals. But when it comes down to whether you're going to die or not, most reasonable people... Well, I guess the Inquisitors are kind of like the Tea Party was about 8 years ago.
So of course, you're faced with a choice. Do you help the Eldar, or do you help, or do you do what Darkhammer wants? And
die.
Yeah. And Biden's like saying, guys, if these Republicans want to vote for me, they're in my coalition, and I'm not going to betray them.
The way a reasonable person
Look,
would.
if I know they're lame on Facebook, but for some reason, elderly citizens seem to be polling well with them. And we're not in a position to turn down help. So, of course, Inquisitor Darkhammer mobilizes the Green Party for a big spoil.
Out of the warp, Jill Stein comes.
She's got her crystals.
No.
She's charging them up.
It's worse than that. Her flagship, the Nader, has come with her.
She's getting funding from someone else. She's getting funding from right-wing regimes from all over the world. Reasonable people will say that doesn't make any sense because they refuse to think about why they would be, Anyway, you fight Darkhammer with the Ynnari, and the Ynnari Eldar, it's a woman, and a very haughty woman, and she says...
Like all Eldar.
Yeah, she's like, well done, you killed your Inquisitor, and our craft world lives to fight another day. Farewell. And then Biden's like, wait, what about our alliance? We had one, and it has run its course. So we had an alliance that helps you personally.
Right.
That's Eldar. Yeah, that's Eldar.
Eldar.
That's Eldar. That's Republicans. Yeah.
So you obviously need to go for the Dark Eldar next.
Yep. Yeah, well, I'm sure they will be excellent allies. Anyway, you just keep plugging along, just trying to keep you've only got 10 fingers, and there's 18 leaking dikes right now, and you've only got the one Dutch boy. So if he's got 18 fingers, he's a mutant. He needs to be purged. Anyway, there is one mission that I really like. It brings in the Planet Killer, which is a planet killer.
Right.
It's one of Abaddon's favorite toys. And you think you destroyed it in the 12th Black Crusade, but guess what? It's back, along with its captain. And you have to fight it. And it's not fun, because it can destroy your entire fleet if you're caught in its blast. But, and this is one of my favorite parts of the game, Rubute Gilliman himself shows up in a Gloriana-class battleship and says, "It seems you flushed out my prey for me, Admiral Spire. Let us join forces and take this bastard down." And every one of your crew is rightfully freaking out, because that is a Primarch.
One living Primarch that's still a loyalist.
Yeah, and he is in stasis. Everyone knows that Jesus Christ died and is in heaven, so he's not technically dead. But he's also not here helping us every day in person. It's like in World War I, if Jesus Christ hopped into a trench with you with sergeant stripes on, and everyone's freaking out. Everyone's having a legitimate crisis. Like, oh my God, that is Jesus Christ. He is risen. But Biden is just saying that is the Lord Commander, people. Address him by his proper rank. Dude, 800 years ago, he was in stasis. He was a corpse in a freezer, and now he is living. That is an Emperor's son, dude. That's a Lord Commander in a big battleship. That's all I care about. Let's get this done, dude. If one Primarch's back, is Corvus back? Is Russ back? I have so many questions. Questions for later. That is a big battleship, and that's all I care about. It's like Sergeant Christ hops into the trench with you, and one of these, and everyone's having a religious moment. But one guy is saying, "Okay, now that Sergeant Christ is here, we can really turn this flank." There's bigger issues. Anyway, you ally with Gilliman, and he agrees to help you. Throughout the rest of the game, you have Gilliman as a character in that big battleship.
That's wicked, actually.
It's actually really cool.
The Ultramarines are probably my least favorite legion of the Loyalists and the Traitors, but Recent writing has improved them a lot, especially with Gilliman having the big crisis of faith with, is it even worth trying to save this wretched Imperium? Because he remembers.
Yeah, he remembers what it was supposed to be.
He remembers what his father wanted.
He wants to reform it from the inside, work within the establishment, and it's just not. It's playing hell on his nerves. But there's no other option.
But I do want to appreciate the fact that this whole game has you playing as Admiral Spire, and you know all the 40K fanboys are mad about that. But you know what? You do get the Ultramarine Primarch, so that's how they're going to bring in the standard boys.
Yeah, I just love that.
And you're right. Recent writing has improved them.
A Primarch shows up. Admiral Spire is so unflappable that this is nothing more than reinforcements to him.
It's like LeBron James shows up to help your high school basketball team, and you're like, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's LeBron James!" You're like, "Yeah, we got us a pretty good power forward here. I've seen his stats. Let's put him in."
It's like
James might be a center.
I'm thinking of like a single mother. She got knocked up by a guardsman who died, and she's trying to raise her son the best she can. She makes sure he's going to the Scholar Progenium because he's getting off this planet. Oh. He's not just going to be an administratum clerk like she is. Mm-hmm. And then at 13, it turns out he's been accepted into the Scala, but he's also a minor league psyker. So that's not, that's bad news. Black ships are going to come. Then one day, some big bearded guy in a trench coat with a fedora kicks in her door, and it's none other than Sherlock Obi-Wan Cousteau. And she knows because she has read the Rogue One first edition rulebook that he is the coolest and most badass of Inquisitors. And she thinks he's here for her son, but no. He says, "You're an Inquisitor, Harry." So he's not just going to be a fleet captain. He's going to be an Inquisitor. The best life you could probably possibly get with the most freedom. She's so proud, but she's never going to see her boy again. So she's going to hold a going away party, and she's got all her friends and relatives there. It's an okay party, but everyone's kind of looking at their watch. They got work tomorrow. Nobody wants to be the first to leave because they know once they leave, everyone else is going to leave. She's going to be all alone. And then she's just looking for a moment. She's praying to the Emperor, the Holy Emperor, for just some kind of sign, something to make this meaningful. And then the door opens. Leman Russ, Corvus Corax, and Vulcan show up, walk without a word onto the karaoke stage, and sing, "You raise me up so I can stand on mountains." And everyone in the crowd's just saying, "Yeah, it's an okay rendition." I'll give it a courtesy clap. They leave with no note. They go back to the warp or wherever they are. Primarchs, no big deal. not to Admiral Spire, is it? Nope. Okay, so eventually you do. You raise me up. Sorry, I've got the image of Leman Russ belting out, thinking of his dad. I am strong when I'm on your shoulders.
Being inspired by his hate for Lograr.
To more than I can be.
One of my favorite scenes with Leman Russ, it's in Thousand Suns, All Is Dust, which of course is one of the Horus Heresy books. And Magnus finally comes to Russ's aid on that campaign. And because Russ has been working with the word bearers and he's pissed off. Like, he's like, I can't take it. Like, you know what? Go get my other brother that I don't like and bring him here. Have him deal with this shit for a minute. And Magnus finally shows up and they're shaking hands. And Magnus goes, has the Horizon arrived yet? And Russ goes, don't call him. Russ, the way he's depicted in the Horus Heresy, I love it because he's like, you know what? Dad wants us to get this done. And, you know, I'm sick of everyone just trying to play around and pal around. Like, we got a job to do, people. But
So when you do finally go after Abaddon, he's been busy presumably elsewhere in the galaxy, but he realizes, okay, somebody back at the starting line has been putting bananas on the Mario Kart track. He's gonna deal with it. So he sends all his lieutenants, and they're all they're everything you expect the chaos to be. Like, the Nurgle guy is really pleasant, except for being unpleasant.
Mm-hmm.
He's offering you very tasty diarrhea in your mouth. There's Slanesh, who is very charming, and says, "Oh, Spire, we meet again. I knew you'd come back for me." Like, what? Aren't you dead? No. In fact, I almost killed you, but I didn't because I love you so much. Fortunately, Biden doesn't care about that.
Right.
So you just kill your way through it, and then the Zinch admiral puts forward another human. Like, you see a human ship, and it's someone that Spire knows from 800 years ago. Is like, oh, Spire, is that you? I've been trapped in the warp for 800 years. Like hell you are. That's an illusion, people. Guys, I don't think that's an illusion. I think that's just like, he's just whimpering the whole time. Stop shooting at me. We can't risk it. A true son of the Empire would not care if I were killing him. And at the end of the mission, you're like, did we kill him? Was I? No, that was a Zinch. That was Zinch. And then after Nurgle, like, okay, we defeated the Nurgle fleet. Unfortunately, half our crew is now infested with exploding syphilis. Kill half the crew. Kill half the crew. It's in the book. Like, buy the book, people. That's how we're doing this. Korn is just, like, boarding action, all that. Anyway, you do finally lure Abaddon out by killing all his favorite people. And Abaddon sends out more of his favorite people for the Mega Man boss rush before he finally shows up. And after you kill all of his lieutenants, Abaddon shows up in that Gloriana class battleship that you can't really match. But then you have the Eldar show back up for the redemption arc for betraying you earlier. Asmodai can show up if you've allied with him, and you just take him down together, and he explodes. That's not canon.
No,
Abaddon is not
Abaddon
dead.
is not dead.
His model sells entirely too well.
It's a wicked model too. The latest edition one, Abaddon, and in Magnus the Red are just amazingly beautiful models, and they're really good for if you want to put all your points into one model, but just be able the joke about Abaddon and Magnus is you play them if you want to be able to just sit at the table and swipe your enemies off like poker chips. Yeah, and so does Abaddon have a dying speech?
Not really. He just says, "What?" How did Joe Biden win the primary? He didn't do anything. Look, doing nothing is a very tried and true tactic. Remember the it's like Mario Party on that one thing where you're rolling on a ball on an ice cliff.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like trying to knock the other people off, but you just stand perfectly still because when you're standing still, you're not slipping and sliding. So everyone slips and slides off, and he just stands perfectly fine.
Abaddon is dying breath. I don't understand. You didn't do anything. How did you win the primary? Biden turns around. You fool! Did you learn nothing of Howard Dean? Doing something's the worst thing you could do in a primary.
He takes his shades. He takes those stupid aviators off. He has another pair underneath them. Then he puts them back on. He says, "Yeah," but he stutters. And then everyone says, "Oh, he has a degenerative brain disease." Yeah, dude. What?
The Howard Dean thing was bizarre. It was bizarre.
It was a microphone thing, but I know it was. No human can make. Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah.
It was like it killed him.
I know. He was
killed him
doing so
dead.
good.
I mean, just like I've never seen anything like it in all
Dude,
politics.
I knew when YTMND was just all Dean Scream all the time. Yeah, it's over for him. He's lost YTMND. You know those people will be voting in 30 years. 18, of course, to get the majority because they're all infants on YTMND, and then another 12 or so just to get them all out of their radical phase where they actually start doing things.
Wow, that's So Abaddon is dead.
Abaddon dies, and Admiral Spire is just pleased as punch to be High Admiral and doing things by the book the way they were meant to be. There's sure Gilliman's trying to make the Empire a atheist or at least very least secular and relatively more liberal institution, but at the same time that's beyond my purview, man. That's his wheelhouse. I've got mine.
So Gilliman is he is Bernie.
Yeah, he's the
Oh my God, him joining you is Bernie giving this speech at the DNC.
Okay, Spire, you're not actually going to solve any problems, but you will close shut the jaws of oblivion. Look,
So-
Emperor Martin didn't make the Empire a stronger place, but he did save it. He turned into a dragon to do it, and I'm waiting for Biden to do that. That will be what clinches my meaningless Indiana vote. Because the Electoral College rewards not small states, but large states that are competitive. That is to say, Florida. It rewards Florida.
It's
And Texas.
Yeah, I do not. I absolutely. We don't get votes that count in Indiana.
Yeah, we don't get anything that counts in Indiana.
Even the Republicans don't like it. I mean, it's a nominal thing, really, to show
Yeah,
up and vote for president.
Yeah, I mean, like the most your political statements can really count is to be like funny. Like if you just got like a yard sign, dude, come on, you live in Indiana, no one cares. No one cares. You're not changing anyone's minds. At least be fun.
There's a yard sign in Boonville right now on 3rd Street. You could see it, but it's best to see it going south because it's on a house on the right side of the road if you're heading south, and you could look out and he just has a sign. It looks like every other political sign, like the design, the font, the colors, and it just says "I'm an asshole," and under it lists the reasons. So it is one of those annoying, like, I'm just an asshole, dude. But it's funny that breaks up the because Boonville's an interesting town because it's perfectly split between Republicans and Democrats. Mm-hmm. It's just the Democrats were the only ones that voted until 4 years ago. So now Boonville has all these Republicans that they're like, wait a minute.
KDFL and the Eye of Terror opened up. Yeah.
Right. So
there was there was one sign that I saw. There's this nice older lady. She lives in this no-name town. Like it's just on a road. Like there's a few houses along the side of the road. Every house is bedecked in Trump flags. And then as you're driving down, you're just kind of like you just got like tunnel vision, and you see a scarecrow. Nice little scarecrow. This woman gardens. She's got a big garden by the side of the road. Mm-hmm. And the scarecrow is holding a sign like, hey, that's not a flag. This Trump voter put some effort into it. Mm-hmm. I look and I see it does in fact say Trump, but then there's a slash through it. And the scarecrow's got like a flipping the double bird. Like, dude, what?
Where is this? I want to see this.
It is in Newtonville.
Okay, yeah.
So, like that, don't mess with her. Anyone walking around like that with no visible bruises knows some stuff. She judo flips.
Very elderly women are like my favorite people with opinions because they don't give a shit. Like they're old women. Like, what are you gonna do? Kill her? Like, what are you gonna do? She's dying anyway. So I love when they're very vocal about their opinion.
And the best part, I was riding along, I was listening to the Alan Wake soundtrack. so the whole time I'm like riding down that line, I'm like, when I thought I see all the Trump flags, and then I pass that. I look, it connects in my brain at the exact moment the chorus goes, when I thought that I fought this war alone, you were there by my side on the front lines. And we fought to believe the impossible.
So, yeah, 40. Sounds like a great game. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun
I
to
have
play?
a ton, there's a lot of like really fun moments where there's like, okay, I am going to lose if I can't take this thing out because I only have light cruisers and they can't take this thing. I have a cruiser that's on fire with no guns. So I crash the cruiser through an asteroid field like the Kool-Aid man to explode into the damn thing and clutch it out.
I really, really hope that
The Thousand Sun ships are so fun.
Thousand Suns are just. I love that Legion.
They're just pretty. They're just pretty ships.
I love the lore. I love their models. I love their aesthetic. I love everything about the Thousand Suns. I really like that they're all Alphonse Elric now because Aramin tried to fix everything and he made everything 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
So they're all literally like it's almost like they're a commentary on like Space Marine fans because you're a Space Marine fan just because the Terminator armor. Well, guess what? These guys are only the Terminator. Like there's nothing underneath it because of the the rubric. Was that what it was? The rubric of Aramin?
They tried to stop the flesh change or whatever.
And it's like, oh, we'll stop the flesh change, all right. So the problem is your flesh is changing. Well, let's eliminate the.
Apparently, one of the avatar of the Eldar Death God with the Yanari ran into Ahriman in the webway.
Yeah.
And just to troll him, she brought one of the rubrics back. She restored it and says, I can do this to your entire legion if you let us go. Then he lets her go, and she turns him back into dust because she's an Eldar. First and foremost,
Aramin is one of my favorite characters in the lore. And like as much memes as there are about Aramin, like he is a legit like awesome character. Like it's the best thing about Aramin was he was always loyal.
Yeah,
he is to this day loyal.
Mm-hmm.
And his story is not a story of betrayal. His story is a story of he was in the wrong place at the wrong time at all time. Like Aramin's just a guy that's like, what? He can't be wrong. He's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean Magnus is going too far? Like, my favorite thing is when Magnus is going to go through the webway to the Emperor, and they're killing 200 innocent people to do this. And he's laying down, and Aramin comes up to him, and he's like, Dad, Grandpa told us we can't do this anymore. And Magnus is like, listen. He told everyone else they can't do this, but he needs to hear this.
It was a real Homer moment.
Oh, and the best part is Aramin's like, we could just send a message. He's like, nope, can't trust it. Can't trust it. I got to go tell him in person. And the scene where Magnus walks through the gate is one of the best in all of Warhammer 40K lore because he walks through the Emperor. The Emperor literally looks at him like, what the hell, man? And like, he ruined everything. He ruined everything. And the Emperor just gives him this look. And the best part is Magnus says nothing. He just walks back through.
He walks back through the bushes.
Literally. He comes out, he sees, and Magnus understands that moment. It's like, oh, this is why we had the trial of Nicaea. Okay. Tell you what. You know what? You're working. I'm gonna head back home and
Anyway, Gothic Armada 2 was very fun. Very fun.
I'm glad to hear. Don has spent an unhealthy amount of time on Gothic Armada 2.
It's a good thing I don't have other games I'm playing right now or want to play.
And so it is available on Steam.
Yes.
There are no console releases that I know of.
It would be kind of awkward on a console.
You'd be surprised Stellaris has an awesome console
Oh, that's
edition.
good.
But now is this a turn-based 4X or is it real-time 4X?
The combat is real time. The strategy is turn-based.
So it's war. It's Total War.
Yeah.
There are Total War Warhammers, but they're fantasy. I don't think they've done a 40K one yet. So guys, strongly recommend. What is it on the Steam store? Like $40, 60?
I think maybe closer to 40. Yeah.
So not bad at all. So guys, give that a shot. And Don seems to be in kind of a 40K mood, so you could look forward to more cast about that. I'm
Probably.
sure. We'll get to them.
Yeah.
If not, so guys, until next time, check out the links below. We do have a Patreon. We do have a Discord. Discord's a lot of fun. Actually, a 40K meme you posted in the Discord the other day. The citizen, this is a cat.
the furry chart.
We're having we're having a great time. So that would be such an awesome thing at a con. Go as an inquisitor and go up to the and just playful.
This is not a stable app human.
Do not actually harass people at cons, but to do that. There's a guy that I know you're not into Naruto or anything, but in the beginning of Naruto, the sensei Kakashi has a moment where he's basically clowning them, showing them, he's doing an exercise that's basically to clown them, show them how much they have to learn, and he sneaks up behind Naruto and he does a jutsu called the 1,000 Years of Death, and it's him doing this and sticking them up his butt real quick, and Naruto flies off, all hurt. And there's a guy that goes to cons dressed as Kakashi, speaks with people before he does this, obviously, but he YouTubes himself going around doing the 1,000 Years of Death on people. But So, guys, check out the links. We've still got cool merch and everything, and big things are happening for Don and Rom. We're growing exponentially lately. Don and I are working like dogs lately.
Yeah, it's election season.
But it's election season for him in the paper. We are making up our builds. We are making the vehicles we did not make during quarantine right now at my job. I've been working about 12 to 14-hour days through the week, sometimes a lot of Saturdays too. But we will get back to pumping out the amount of content that we did before. It's going to happen. But guys, until then, we have a blast talking to you. We genuinely do. This is the highlight of our weeks every time. So thank you guys, and until next time, be safe.